The Celestial Spine Cantina floated in the neutral zone between 7-star systems, a place where species from across the galaxy came to drink, negotiate, and forget. Eva wiped down the obsidian bar with practiced efficiency, her human hands moving with the kind of rhythm that came from 3 years of serving the galaxy's most dangerous patrons. Tonight, the cantina hummed with an unusual tension. 4 draconian warriors occupied the corner booth, massive reptilian beings whose scales shimmered like molten metal under the dim lights. Their kind rarely traveled in groups anymore, not since the Purge Wars had scattered their clans across the void. Eva had served exactly 3 draconians in her entire career, and never more than 1 at a time. Luis, her co-worker and the only other human on staff, leaned against the service station beside her. "Table 7 wants another round of plasma shots," he muttered, his dark eyes fixed on the draconians. "You noticed their insignias?" Eva had noticed. Each warrior bore the mark of crimson silence on their shoulder plates, a military unit that had supposedly gone extinct 2 decades ago during the Battle of Ashenfell. According to galactic history, they'd been humanity's fiercest opponents before the Accords. "I'll take the plasma shots," Eva said, loading her tray. "You handle the dragons." Luis shook his head. "Manager said you've got table 12. Those are your customers." Eva's jaw tightened, but she nodded. The first rule of working in neutral space: you served everyone, no matter what wars their species had fought against yours. She approached the table with steady steps, tray balanced perfectly. The 4 draconians stopped their conversation, their predatory eyes tracking her movement. The largest one, whose scales bore the silver patina of age, studied her with an intensity that made her skin prickle. "Another round?" Eva asked, her voice steady despite the way her heart hammered against her ribs. The silver-scaled warrior, clearly the leader, tilted his massive head. When he spoke, his voice resonated like grinding stone. "You are human. Young human. You were not born when we fought your kind." It wasn't a question, but Eva answered anyway. "No, sir. I was born 3 years after the Accords. Yet you do not fear us." Another draconian, smaller but covered in battle scars, leaned forward. "Your hand does not shake. Why?" Eva met his gaze directly, something most species considered either brave or foolish when dealing with draconians. "Fear doesn't pay my rent." "Your order?" A sound like grinding rocks filled the air. Draconian laughter. The leader gestured with one clawed hand. "Courage or foolishness? With humans it is always difficult to distinguish. We will have ember wine, 4 vessels." Eva nodded and turned to leave, but the leader's voice stopped her. "Wait! Come closer, young human." Every instinct screamed at her to run, but Eva forced herself to step nearer. The draconian extended his massive arm, rotating it to reveal the underside of his forearm. There, etched in deep scarification that glowed faintly blue, was an intricate pattern, a spiral of symbols surrounding a central star. "Do you know what this is?" he asked, Eva's breath caught. Her mind raced back 15 years to childhood memories of her mother's bedroom, to the time she'd traced the identical pattern on her mother's shoulder blade, while her mom told her bedtime stories. "It's a binding mark," Eva said quietly. From the medical corps, the 4 draconians went completely still. In the cantina's background noise, their silence felt like a void. The leader's eyes narrowed. "How does a human child know of binding marks?" Eva's throat felt dry, but she pushed forward. "My mom has your tattoo." The words hung in the air like a suspended explosion. Around the cantina, conversations continued. Glasses clinked. But at table 12, time seemed to have stopped. The scarred draconian rose to his full height, nearly 8 feet of muscle and scales. "What is your mother's name?" "Sarah Chen. She was a trauma surgeon with the 47th Mobile Medical Unit during the last year of the war." The silver-scaled leader stood now too, his eyes glowing with an emotion Eva couldn't identify. "Sarah Chen of Earth, the one they called Silent Hands, when you know her?" Eva's professional composure cracked. "Know her." The leader's voice carried across the cantina now, drawing stares. "She saved my clutch brother's life at Firebase Obsidian. I was there. I watched her work for 16 hours while the base burned around us while her own people evacuated. She stayed because my brother could not be moved." The scarred one spoke, his voice rough with emotion. "She removed shrapnel from my spine on the battlefield at Kirshen Valley. Told me to stop whining when I roared in pain." He made that grinding sound again. laughter mixed with something deeper. I was a warrior, Captain. No one had dared speak to me thus. I obeyed her. The third Draconian, who had been silent until now, touched his chest. She sang to my daughter while treating her burns. Human songs. My daughter still remembers? Ava felt tears burning her eyes. Her mother never talked about the war, about what she'd done, about why she sometimes woke up screaming. She only said she'd patched up some soldiers and that it was a long time ago. The leader reached up and unfastened something from his neck, a small crystal pendant on a platinum chain. When a Draconian warrior owes a life debt, we carry a piece of our homeworld until that debt is repaid. 20 years I have carried this. He held it out to Eva. Tell Sarah Chen that Krathix of Crimson Silence considers his debt honored if she will accept this from her daughter's hand. Ava took the crystal with trembling fingers. It was warm, pulsing with a faint inner light. And tell her, the scarred one added, that the warriors she saved have not forgotten, that we watch the stars for her safety, that she gave us back our futures. Luis appeared at Ava's shoulder, his eyes wide. The entire cantina had gone quiet. Eva looked at the four ancient warriors, these living legends who had fought against humanity and somehow found honor in the aftermath. I'll tell her, and your ember wine is on the house tonight. Krathix inclined his massive head. You have your mother's courage, young Eva. The galaxy is fortunate that humans like you exist. As Eva walked back to the bar, crystal clutched in her hand, she realized that her mother's bedtime stories, the ones about honor, duty, and seeing the person beyond the enemy, hadn't been fairy tales at all. They'd been memories.